You know that feeling? Your nonprofit is growing, you're hitting your goals, but the compliance paperwork just seems to be piling up faster and faster? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into why the real issue isn't the forms themselves. It's actually something much deeper, your financial reporting.
This educational resource is brought to you by the specialists at Ironwood Registrations. So let's start with the question that's probably on a lot of your minds. Why does compliance seem to get harder every single year? You're doing great work, you're expanding your reach, but that administrative burden just keeps growing with you. What's really going on here?
Well, here's the key insight, and it might surprise you. The complexity isn't really about the number of forms you have to fill out. The true engine driving all of this is your organization's financial reporting. That's the foundation for literally everything else.
You see, this entire system of state regulation is built on a financial foundation. When you get right down to it, it's all about financial transparency, making sure that donor funds are being used responsibly. And the way they do that is through required financial disclosures.
So what exactly are we talking about? Well, states want nonprofits to make key financial details public. Things like your total revenue, how you're spending it between your programs and your fundraising efforts, and even information about your governance. It all helps paint a clear picture of your organization's financial health. And where does this information come from? It's not like you just pull these numbers out of thin air. The states are very clear. These disclosures have to be tied directly to your official, standardized financial documents. Now, the most common sources are your IRS Form 990, and as your organization gets bigger, you'll start seeing requirements for reviewed or even fully audited financial statements prepared by a CPA. These documents become the absolute bedrock of your state compliance filings.
Okay, so this is where your growth really starts to change the game. As your revenue goes up, you start crossing these different financial thresholds that the states have set up, and each one triggers an entirely new level of reporting requirements.
I like to think of it as a compliance ladder. You know, when you're smaller, just filing your Form 990 is probably enough. But as you grow, a state might say, okay, now we need to see reviewed financials. And if you grow even more, you'll almost certainly hit the threshold that requires a full independent audit.
And believe me, each step up this ladder has real-world consequences. It means more time and involvement from your CPA, a lot more documentation to get together, and way more internal coordination between your finance folks and your development teams. Your whole compliance structure has to evolve right alongside your revenue.
Now, as if that ladder wasn't enough to think about, here's where it can get really tricky. I call it the multi-state multiplier. The moment you start fundraising in more than one state, you're going to discover pretty quickly that they don't all play by the same set of rules.
Just take a look at this. State A might trigger an audit requirement at $750,000 in total revenue, but maybe State B triggers it at only $500,000, and they only count contributions. Then you've got State C, which has a completely different trigger based on gross receipts. It's a patchwork. So, what does all this mean for you? It means your organization could be required to get a full audit for one state but not for another, all based on the very same set of financials. It becomes this really complex, layered puzzle that you have to manage very, very carefully. And it's not just about figuring out what to file. There's a huge operational piece to this too. The timeline for getting your financials ready creates a direct ripple effect across all of your registration and renewal deadlines. Let me paint a picture for you, one that might be all too familiar. Let's say there's a delay in getting your annual audit finalized. It happens all the time, right? Well, since many states require you to submit that audit with your renewal application, that one delay at the beginning now pushes back your ability to file all those state renewals on time. And here's the real danger. That delay in accounting leads to a delay in compliance, which could ultimately put your ability to fundraise legally in those states at serious risk. It's a chain reaction, and every link is connected. Okay, so after hearing all that, you're probably wondering, how on earth do we manage all this complexity? The key is making a shift from being reactive to being proactive. It really all comes down to good planning and coordination. So here are a few absolutely crucial strategies. You've got to actively monitor those revenue thresholds in every state you're in. Make sure your audit timeline is coordinated with your renewal calendar. Get your finance and development teams on the same page about expansion plans. And please, use a central system to track everything and review all of your obligations every single year. When you put these practices into place, you fundamentally change the dynamic. This kind of proactive coordination simply gets rid of so much of that last-minute reactive stress that so many nonprofits feel come renewal season.
So what's the bottom line here? It's pretty simple. Your financial reporting is what drives your compliance complexity. Understanding that connection is absolutely the key to planning for growth responsibly. Because at the end of the day, a strong infrastructure is what makes sustainable expansion possible.